Hello everyone, back with another thrift store finds video. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. This morning started off, it was a disaster, but by the time I came home it was great. I had a lot of great luck, but started off headed to that frequent Goodwill bargain bins area where we do, the majority of our stuff comes from. It's like our go-to thing. I go there every week, minimum once a week, a couple times a week usually. And I never made it there. I left this morning and made it about 3 or 4 minutes away from our house, and it only takes about 15 minutes to get there usually, and hit this wall of traffic right at the spot where I'm on the highway in the middle lane, people on either side, and then a fourth lane to get off at the exit, and right past an exit, just dead stop, there was, it turns out, an accident near that area, really bad, like 3 fire engines, multiple ambulance, police, like everything. It was crazy, but I was stuck between these 2 exits for over half an hour, just not even moving. It took me about 40 minutes from the time I got there to move up one exit, and about another 10 minutes to weasel my way over just to get off. And just seeing the traffic in there was no way I was getting there. It was going to be like an hour and a half to get there. So turned around, ended up basically wasting a little over an hour before I kind of restarted, and was not in a good mood. That was not a great way to start things. Went to a couple thrift stores, and the big thing at the end was the half price day that the last place I went to before I came home. That not only saved the day, it was way more than I expected. Really, really good deal. But to start off, the little stuff I got at the other places here, a couple of these themed plates. Usually these are not worth picking up. We have like one Star Trek one that we found years ago, which is really, really cool. These picture plates. These are a huge thing to collect in the 80s and 90s in particular, and they're usually not worth a whole lot. But these were from the late 80s, so we have some Gone with the Wind. And again, these usually are not worth a whole lot. There's some specific ones that are, but a lot of these, they were mass-produced, but they were only $2 a piece. So that was worth my time. There wasn't a whole lot there. South Pacific. So those were, right in that range where there wasn't a whole lot there to pick up. I needed something. I was going to at least make a little bit of something. And for $2 a piece, okay, those were good. That was a good find there. Some Arthur. A few more books for Pengo. A lot of those that don't really make enough on something like eBay or whatever, but this 3 collection of the like a romance series, that kind of stuff. But on something like Pengo or whatever, the fees are a lot lower, and that kind of general fiction kind of stuff that you can get it really cheap is worth sending out. So that's good for that. And 3 VHS tapes, a sealed copy of Wishbone, Homer Sweet Homer. I actually remember this Wishbone, that episode. And these are cool. You don't see these. I have 1 volume on VHS that I found a long time ago, like 4 or 5 years ago at least. And found 2, Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman. Really cool. And Linda Hamilton. Really enjoyed that series. So I'm going to check these out, see which episodes they are, because I don't necessarily remember them all by name. Actually, this one I do remember, but I'm going to see if they're ones that will be for me or the store and what kind of condition those are in. So that was cool. Then everything else that you're going to see, including a Star Trek figure and Goosebumps and a vintage board game, like everything, all this was at the last place I went to, and all of it was less than $16 total. Everything you see from here on out, less than $16 is like $15, $30 something, whatever, for all this. Amazing. First up, I found 36 Goosebumps books. Most of them are in really good condition, and almost all of them are the original 62 and the original print runs. There's 4, I think, that are later printings, and 1 Choose Your Own Adventure. But yeah, 36 of them. So that alone, just crazy. Already made my day. The entire morning that I spent out looking for them, well worth it. So I'll go through these because these are cool. I love getting old Goosebumps. I have a lot of great memories of that series, and it's fantastic when you can find the original run of the original series from the 90s in good condition, because very frequently they're becoming definitely harder and harder to run into, and I see them a lot where they're maybe in the bottom of the bargain bin, and there's water damage, or these are read by kids, and if it's the first run, it was read by kids like 30 something years ago, so they tend to have rips and tears or not be in the greatest condition. And yeah, these are really good. There's a couple that have a little bit issues, but the majority of them, there's a One Day at Horrorland I'll get to eventually here that has a little tear in the corner, but most of these are really great condition. Love finding these. They sell really well. And the other thing too is I love finding things to go up on the store that are things that I have an interest in. It's just a little more fun. Yeah, this One Day at Horrorland, the corner there, but there's 2 copies of it in here, so really cool. Here's one of the Reader Beware, at least it's one of the older ones. And Calling All Creeps, this one has gotten a little bit harder to find. That's a good one to grab. That one goes for a little bit more overall. The legendary Chicken, How We Learned to Fly, and a newer print of One Day at Horrorland, newer version there. So that alone, okay, that's worth my morning out. That made up for the miserable way that the day started, but it kept going, and it was a combination of, you go there and it's half price day on everything except white tags are full price, but then yellow tags it's only $1, and it was a combination of all kinds of things that worked in our favor. Some Stephen King, some Bean science fiction, Assassin's Creed. So a good little pickup of some additional paperback books on top of that, and a few hardcover books as well that were worth grabbing for 50 cents to $1 depending on what they were. Some Anne Rice. So all that great. 2 more things I saw behind the counter there. That normally is not a part of the 50% off day, and usually that stuff is way overpriced, more than its actual market value. Not even it's definitely not thrift store prices. But I asked about one thing because I saw it, was curious, and it had a yellow tag, so qualified as only being $1. So I only paid $1, complete in box, and I was like, really? Not the most rare of Star Trek figures, but and there's a little bit beat up on the corner here, but I don't care. A Star Trek figure complete? I mean, that's great. Just fantastic. And anything from the original series is always a lot of fun too. And I really liked this line, the Warp Factor series. Those were some of my favorites towards the end of the real quality era of Star Trek action figures. There was this time period where they were releasing so many. I remember for one Christmas I got the entire series 1 of Voyager. It's a stack like this tall, just of, there's so many quality action figures for Star Trek for a while there, and it's kind of disappeared. There really just isn't a whole lot that's been coming out, and some of the ones just announced a few more action figures coming out. They're redoing some figures from TNG and Wrath of Khan and making some new ones from Discovery. And the level of detail and stuff on them, they look worse than the older figures. I don't know, I feel like the prime age of Star Trek action figures is pretty much over. It's either real cheap looking kind of junky action figures or really high detail, nice but $200-300 action figures slash statue type things. There's that middle ground is kind of gone. But that and the last find, again, all in this entire thing is all in that under $16 thing, was this 1987 board game of Axis and Allies. And already I was a bit curious. I was like, okay, it's an older one, and we've been having a lot of luck recently with selling vintage board games, especially stuff from the 80s, really. But I opened it up, and the first thing I saw, I'm like, nah, not worth grabbing. Oh crap, empty. All the pieces are missing. When it feels heavy, they're not missing. They just haven't been put in here yet, because I'm gonna pull out the board. Everything is still sealed. Everything is in its original packaging. Nothing is punched out. All is originally sealed, not resealed. manual and everything. Every little pieces that's in here. Money. So even better than I thought, because I got this for, I think it was, yeah, because it was yellow, it was $1. So this board game with all the sealed pieces from the 80s was $1. Can't beat that. Yeah, so this ended up being an amazing trip out. Started off terribly, wasted a lot of time, but that last place I went to just kind of saved the whole day and was amazing. Very, very happy, especially because I haven't been out quite as much recently, as Amanda and I were both sick the last couple of weeks. I've been out a couple little times, but not really much. So yeah, definitely fantastic. Very, very happy with how this morning ended up.